Hello everyone and welcome back to another Wizard101 video. Today, I'm continuing on the school train. As you know, the last few days I've been talking about schools. Yesterday I talked about... What did I talk about yesterday? Oh yeah, I talked about Moon School. The day before that, I talked about underrated schools. The day before that, I talked about my least favorite school. Today, I'm talking about new schools and how realistic the idea is of adding them to the game. I've gotten a comment a few times, and obviously I have a lot in the past as well, like, could they add a new school to Wizard101? Should they? Would they? Could they? All those questions, right? Also, if you're wondering what the chat is, that is literally my mini script that I wrote because my brain is disheveled as always, and I lost my train of thought last time I was recording too much, so I stopped recording and wrote down guidelines for myself to follow in chat. I think that they're very funny, so this is the TLDR of this video in case you're curious. There you go. Boom. Perfect. Alright, so let's start with, would they add a new school and could they? Well, the real problem is with adding a new school is that it is incredibly difficult. Because a new school dramatically changes a lot of Wizard101 and other games especially. For example, when they added Astral Magic, that hugely changed the game because of enchants. I mean, look at... Spells started doing 300 extra damage, significantly changed everything. Not to mention they have enchants on blades, which allowed for double blading, double trapping, all that kind of stuff. It dramatically changed the game. And then next, they added Shadow, and in regard to Shadow, it might not have changed realistically with the specific Shadow spells, but Shadow infused spells allowed for them to reset the pip count. You can see they gotten up to 10, and there's only 14 pips that you can have total, so they're kind of getting close there to the limit. So they did like a kind of reset where you have a lower normal pip count and then a Shadow infused pip count. Now, obviously, those are really creative and good ways to add new schools to the game, and I do in fact like them, but I would like to say a problem with a new school is that personally I don't know how much else they could do in regard to something like this. Like, they already have the enchant idea, they already have the Shadow infused spells, they already have Shadow, like, almost transformative spells like Moon School, but they don't have, like, what else could they add specifically that would give a new dynamic to the game? I think it would be incredibly difficult for Kingsisle to do that. Now, I'm going to talk more about Shadow School and what I think about it in the future, specifically probably tomorrow's video, but I'd like to say I think that Shadow spells, Astral spells were a net positive to the game, but I don't know if they would add a new school because I feel like it would make things a little bit too complex and new. It would add new features that could potentially not mesh well with their current features. Now, I'd like to say I'm not a game dev. Kingsisle could have something in mind that's way beyond my comprehension that would mesh extremely well with the game. I just don't see it. So if you have any ideas of something that they could add, let me know in the comments below. But let's talk about real quick why they wouldn't add, if they did add something, why it would be similar to Astral and Shadow and not like a main school. Well, the reason for that is really, really simple, to be honest, is that adding a new school to this game at this point, like a new main school, is just completely beyond, like, that's beyond gone. If they did that, they would have had to do it within the first few years of the game, and they can't physically do it now for a few reasons. One, it would completely change the landscape of early game, whether it be because they have different resists, different boosts, all that kind of stuff, or just the fact that, like, bosses might have to be reshaped to those new characters as well. Not to mention, a lot of people already... You know what? I completely lost my train of thought there, so I'm moving on from that. But my point is that it would... Kingsisle wouldn't do that. It would change too much fundamentally about the game, and at this point, it would also be incredibly difficult to do, to mesh in well with the other schools. I also had, moving beyond, new ideas for certain schools that I thought was pretty cool. And this is just my ideas of something they could add, is possibly some kind of light school to match well with the Shadow School. So it works the same way as Shadow, except you get like light pips instead. And I think this would be really cool because our character currently is delving into Shadow, and we know it's not really good for us, and that's really why the Divine Paradox, Aberrant Paradox, all that kind of stuff happened. So if we could have some kind of light school to try to counteract that, I think that would be a really cool addition, and I think it would be cool if they added something to the game that would, you know, counteract Shadow and make like some light infused spells. And maybe they have like some kind of different effect, like maybe they aren't as damaging as Shadow spells, but they have other bonus effects, like they, you know, give you like healing, give debuffs, stuff like that, that is just better than Shadow, giving you another reason to use it. Another thing that they could add would be a new astral chain. I don't know exactly what they do. They have star, moon, and sun. I guess they could do like nebula. No, they won't do that. Like galaxy. I don't know. Something like that. That would add a different effect to certain spells. Maybe make it like a combination. So Sun School provides an enchant with a base enchant to a spell, and then Star provides a damage boost or a resist, all that kind of stuff. You could do something like that, combine the two into one, and then make that a different kind of school. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about today. That's all the ideas I had. Also, for that person that said I sound like I'm trying to reach a minimum of 1,000 words on an essay, I find that incredibly funny because all I do is ramble, but I do really like your comment, and I was very tempted to pin it. So, creative insult, I do like that. But that's really it. If you enjoyed this video, if you liked it, drop a like, hit the sub button. Let me know your new ideas for schools, because I think that it could be interesting to have a discussion in the comments about what different types of schools they could add to the game, different things. Could they even add a school to the game? Personally, if I had to guess, I would say at this point Kingsisle is probably not going to add a new one, but if they did add a new one, it would definitely be a side school like Shadow or Astral, where it wouldn't destroy the base schools. It would just add a different kind of mesh to the game. But enough of this topic. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm probably going to do shadow spells because I have some ideas, some thoughts on them. So, I'll see you then. Have a fantastic day. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.